For over 25 years, Squire's Loft has served up Melbourne and Victoria's most famous steak and ribs you could ask for. So today at lunch or dinner, make it one of legend. Squire's Loft, legendary in every way. Steak specialists for over 25 years.
So let's workshop all of this and pose the questions to the presidents. Glen Bartlett, welcome to SEN.
Good morning, Gerald. Good to be here.
The biggest question that sits over Melbourne is why? Have you developed your own answer to that over the first 12 weeks of the season?
Oh, Gerald, look, as a club, we're clearly not where we want to be, and it's something that we definitely don't accept. I can tell you, I have spent a bit of time in the footy department. We're working really hard as a club in every aspect, assessing, what we're doing well, how we can improve. Clearly, we didn't get away to a good start in terms of pre-season, injuries. That's been well documented. But the last 4 to 6 weeks, I think the effort and the brand of footy has been much better, but we really just haven't taken the opportunities, and it's really, a matter of finishing that off. And I know the guys and the coaches led by Goodwin and Josh are working really hard, just not on that aspect, but on all aspects as to how we can improve for the rest of the year and going into next year. But it's all about, coming back after the bye and hitting the ground really strongly and improving.
How far?
So I don't think there's lots of moving parts, Gerard, to a footy club that we continually assess and work on, and I wouldn't put it down to one thing at the moment.
It's a long way. So the footy you talk about from the past 4 or 6 weeks, it's been a tooth and nail struggle, and that's been admirable. That's a long way from the devastating footy at the end of last year. Can you marry up the difference between the team that you were and the team that you have been this year?
I think, as I said, if you go back to pre-season, the start, we just haven't been able to get continuity either in terms of, I think, selection and personnel. And the last 4 to 6 weeks, I think, the footy that was played in Perth, in my opinion, in Adelaide, the brand of the footy, was very much the way we were playing last year. But, our set shot goal kicking let us down badly in those games. And I understand the frustration, but there's a lot that's been done right when you're winning inside 50s, contested footy the last few weeks. It's more about finishing. I know the guys are working really, really hard, and from that builds confidence and has a knock-on effect. If you have a few players down, it does have a cascading effect, I think, across the group. But I can tell you the amount, and for our supporters, the amount of work that's going into it and belief in the group hasn't wavered. And I'm expecting a really strong finish to the second half of the year.
Why did you decide to spend a little bit of time in the footy department, Glenn? What did you want to answer in your own mind?
Oh, look, it's a sort of detail, I guess, as chairman and as a board, we typically, we play our role and we don't, get involved in the nitty-gritty. And so we did pre-plan some visits. So it was a pre-plan. As it turned out, it was probably pretty timely, and it was good just to spend some time and talk to the coaches, the players, all the staff, sit in their meetings, look at what they're doing. I was incredibly impressed with Footy and the coaches and the way they educate and teach the players. I was incredibly impressed with the way they train, the professionalism, the work ethic. And I think it was really important to sort of spend that time. And, we're building a really strong footy club that's built on relationships. And so it's something that I plan, not as a one-off, but to do from time to time. And I think it's really important. We're all in this together as a club. And if you can find 3%, of something that you can improve in just by sitting back and having a look, then it's worthwhile. But having said that, I'm so confident in our personnel that we've got from Josh and led by Goody and the way they're going about it that we'll turn this around. I've got no doubt about that.
So what's that confidence born out of, Glenn?
The right across the board, the work that has gone in, the quality of the people, the behaviours and values that we've worked on, the constant challenging, the conversations that happen that challenge people if our standards aren't being met, and the the feel and the work ethic that's just going into that department. And the talent, there's a fair bit of talent there, there's no question about that. Very confident in our list and the way the boys are being educated. I'm not trying to be wise after the event, but we always knew, and I've said this many times over the journey, it's not a straight line to the top, and we'd had linear improvement, and there would be a time when we would be challenged, and we've been seriously challenged as a football club, and great clubs bond together and they come through it stronger as a club, and we'll be better for it, believe it or not, when we come through this.
In terms of identifying that, Glenn, what's the balance between understanding what is aberration, so in your linear growth, and what represents a moment of truth that maybe you weren't the team that you thought you were? Where's the balance in there?
In terms of not the team, look, I don't think anyone, I think there's a combination of things that produce the win-loss result, and you've got to give great credit to the competition as well. It's a ruthless competition. Work's done. You're only going to be a few % off, and you can get rolled. You can dominate games and still get beaten if you're not clean in what you do. In terms of the personnel on team, it's, as I said, the preparation. Since I've been involved in the game, one thing hasn't changed. You need a really solid pre-season to set yourself up for a really good year on an individual and a team basis. And we clearly had a lot of players that missed a lot of pre-season, so you get away to a bit of obviously a slow start. The team, and again, you get momentum and confidence, and the only way of getting that really back on track is you just continue to work hard, do what's required, identify things that need to change, improve on areas that you can improve on, and that work is being done, and we're not far away. There's no doubt about that. The way we're playing, we had our opportunities on Queen's birthday. Again, I thought Collingwood, their pressure and are very clean and played really well. Full credit to them. So I don't think it's a question of our team's a different team or we're not the team that we thought we are. We just have to push through this work a lot harder. And I'm confident we'll come home strong. And I'm confident in the years that are in front of us with this group.
How pointed were the warnings? So the board evidently got presented with a paper before the season started, so there was no hindsight in it. Were the warnings there out of the pre-season before you began it, and were you eyes wide open on that?
Yes, they were, Gerard. Yes, they were. Did I think we would be 3-9? No. Did we expect we'd be off to? It'd be a challenging first 6 to 8 weeks. Yes, based on the data that was presented to us and compared over previous years. Our footy department's been very upfront, and we get briefed. As I said, we assess regularly on how we're going, on how we can improve, on what needs to change. And so there wasn't a surprise. But look, I'm frustrated, very disappointed to be 3-9 because I still feel we've had plenty of opportunities to win, quite a few more games than 3 games in the way we've played. And it's been more around the finish and efficiency that I know the coaches and players are working on, working hard at, and it needs to be addressed.
So have you already reviewed that pre-season material and implemented whatever learnings or change there need to be for next year, or is that to be done still?
Oh, there's work that right from that period, and as we've as we're speaking and as we're going through the season, there is things that have been assessed. You can say reviewed. There's things that have been changed and been looked at. I'm not going to delve into all the detail, but our fans can be rest assured that the learnings. I think this period is going to be a real learning period for us and a period of resilience and growth. But we've got to push through it and address the issues and come through it strongly. So absolutely, but again, in a lot of ways, it was probably a bit of a perfect storm as well. as a club, as I said, we review constantly as to how we can, if there's an issue, address it, fix it. And even if we were 9-3, I'd be pushing hard as well, Gerard, that we're constantly looking at how we get better, because that's the ruthless nature of the competition we're in.
Glen Bartlett's the Melbourne president. Glen, so what's to be gained in the last 10 games of the season? How demanding are you about this?
Look, absolutely. We're still playing, obviously, to win every game and to go, really hard, starting with Fremantle after the break. As our coach has said, anything is possible. And look, even if it did become mathematically impossible, our position is still the same. We'll be going out to win every game to get as much out of this season as we can. I thought it was really pleasing to see Jake Lever and Stephen May playing together for the first time. The more they play together as a group, the back line, the better we'll be. So, really, really excited about what's in front of us.
Have you seen a necessary change in Simon Goodwin during this season? It's been a different phase of coaching for him than I'm sure what he was geared up for heading into 2019.
I'm really impressed with the way Simon goes about it and the work ethic and what he puts in. As I said, I spent some time in the department, and he's got very good relationships with the players, with the coaches, with everyone across the club, and he's working really, really hard. And again, there's always learnings, no doubt, in this game, and we're constantly striving to get better and better. And I know that Simon's looking forward to resetting and getting back into the second half of the season and going hard at it. So, as I said, really excited about the second half of the year. Really excited about to see, how much we can improve and how quickly.
Do you think at all, Glen, the idea of Melbourne expected it to happen, you expected to make the next step after the excitement towards the end of last year, that had played any role in the trip up of this season?
Not at all. No, I really don't believe that's had any impact. And I do hear about, the drinking your own bath water and getting ahead of yourself and overrating yourself. I can tell you the conversations within the club and how acutely aware, as to how competitive this competition is, where we're at. We were briefed about, the state of play with injuries and preparation, in February, March, before the season started. It's not an excuse, it's reality, but we'll learn from this period. Our players are developing. We've still got a real core of talented young players that will be continually coached and educated. And as I said, I strongly believe we'll come through this stronger, more resilient and better as a football club.
Do you have to hold the whole Melbourne community together, Glen? As I guess they've been a bit of the downtrodden, and then the horizon opened. There was every reason to believe and buy in fully. I'm sure you get a bit of that feedback from your fans as just to how devastating it's been to be back where they never expected to be right now.
Yeah, look, I understand that, and it's certainly 3-9 is not where we want to be. There's a lot to play out in this footy season. You do get challenged. You do have some road bumps. You look around the competition. It happens. But as I said, I'm very, very confident this group. I know the work that's gone in now for a number of years into the training, coaching, the culture, the behaviours. Very, very confident in the talent in this list and the character of the men involved. So I understand. And I just say to our fans that we will come through this stronger and we will rise again. I've got no doubt about it. As a footy club, we're in a much, much stronger position and looking forward to, as I say, launching into the second half of the season and the years that are in front of us.
Do you think
it's going to be really, really exciting times for all Melbourne fans?
Do you think they have faith in that, Glen?
Oh, it's a bit hard. There's no doubt. If you've supported the club for 50 years, there's certainly, people that, I'm very big about. If I don't say anything, you get criticised. If you actually say how you believe, Gerard, you can get criticised. And I understand, that there's supporters that won't actually necessarily believe it until they see it. That's fine. We have to deliver as a footy club. As I said, we had, which was quite unusual, 5 years of linear improvement. It's a rocky road to the top. It always has been. It always will. And I'm very confident in the work that's been done and the character of our people coming through this and coming through much stronger, having learned a lot and much stronger as a group.
So just let me, you've said to me repeatedly that you review things all the time. Do you see any value in a formal contained review at the end of it to get a controlled set of answers as opposed to the work that is always being done?
Look, I think, in terms of work always being done, there's different things that are looked at regularly during the course of the year. There's different reports to the board. At the end of the year, we'll sit down again and look at what's necessary. But we're constantly, reviewing what's happening in the sense of appointed external reviewer or somebody coming in. That is just not necessary.
Yep.
I can tell you that I'm very confident in what's been done. I'm very confident we haven't got people that we don't put our head in the sand and so we're not going to change anything or look at anything. Everything's been looked at, and it's all aimed at getting better as a football club on and off the field. And we're making sure, as a board, that's been done. And we've got quality people in the footy club, and things will turn. But again, we'll no doubt at the end of the year, have a look at where we are and what's been done, and also between now and then, it's a constant exercise in this industry.
Glenn, I appreciate you taking the questions this morning, and and good luck getting it to turn.
No worries. Thanks, Gerard.
Melbourne President Glen Bartlett. So no need for a formal review at the end of the year from an external consultant or the like. Frustrated and very disappointed, but unshakable faith will turn this around. I've got no doubt about that. Are you holding the faith? Is that what you like to hear? Really excited about the second half of the year is Glen Bartlett. 1300 736 736. Your thoughts on Melbourne and a bit broader too. Malcolm Blight is going to join me shortly. We'll talk World Cup cricket. The weather is having a real impact over a couple of days and might affect Australia tonight, a game slated against Pakistan, but the weather in Taunton is not expected to be that compliant with cricket. Flem will take all your calls out of 10. Mitch Marsh is going to join. Well, he's on standby at the moment. There's every reason to think Marcus Stoinis is going to be placed on the injury list, and both Marshes will be in the squad, and pretty soon both Marshes might be in the 11. Grassroots footy is very much on the mind today. A plan for what the future of that might look like, separate to the AFL as the keeper of the code and Kevin Durant's injury. It's been a remarkable 24 hours in America. We will savour all of that, find the answers on the go. Your calls, 1300 736 736. You've heard from the Melbourne president. Are you holding the faith? Holding the faith. Holding the faith.